You wake up every morning to a flood of information. Notifications. Tasks. Transient ideas that spark for a second and instantly vanish into the noise of your digital world. You try to organize it. You download the latest productivity apps. You buy clean, pristine planners. You tag, folder, and categorize your life. But the systems always fail. Within weeks, you are right back where you started, overwhelmed, distracted, and mentally fragmented. Why? Because you are trying to force a chaotic, creative human mind into a rigid, sterile box. You have confused neatness with clarity. You have been taught that to be productive, you must compartmentalize your life. But history's greatest intellects did the exact opposite. They didn't build walls between their ideas. They built intersections. 5 centuries ago, a man walked the streets of Florence with a small, leather-bound notebook tied tightly to his wool belt. He was a bastard child, completely unschooled in Latin, living in an era of violent political upheaval. Yet, he managed to map the human heart, design flying machines, reinvent military fortification, and paint the most recognizable masterworks in human history. His name was Leonardo da Vinci. And his greatest invention wasn't the parachute or the Mona Lisa. It was the architectural blueprint of his own mind. A blueprint contained entirely within 13,000 pages of chaotic, unorganized paper. Let's enter the archive. To understand Leonardo, you must understand the Italian tradition of the Zibaldone, which literally translates to a hodgepodge, or a mess. In the Renaissance, paper was an expensive, luxury commodity. Merchants used notebooks strictly for bookkeeping. But Leonardo saw blank paper as an external hard drive for his consciousness. He carried these notebooks everywhere. If he saw a strange face in the market, he sketched it immediately. If he watched a bird change direction in the wind, he mapped the physics of its wings on the spot. But if you open his notebooks, such as the famous Codex Leicester or Codex Atlanticus, you will notice something shocking that would horrify a modern productivity guru. There is no order. On a single page, you will find a structural mathematical diagram for a cathedral dome sitting directly next to a grocery list for shoes and vegetables, positioned right above an anatomical dissection of a human foot, interspersed with philosophical riddles. He wrote from right to left, in mirror writing. For centuries, people believed he did this to hide his heretical ideas from the Holy Inquisition. But the truth is far more practical. Leonardo was left-handed. Writing from right to left kept his hand from smudging the wet ink as he scrambled to capture his thoughts. He understood a fundamental law of mental architecture: your brain is a machine for creating ideas, not for storing them. By refusing to separate his thoughts into neat, isolated folders, Leonardo forced his mind into a state of perpetual cross-pollination. He did not see anatomy as separate from art, nor engineering as separate from nature. To Leonardo, the way water swirled around a rock in a river was identical to the way blood swirled through the human heart valve. His system worked precisely because it embraced the chaos instead of sterilizing it. Let us look at how this lack of organization directly created his genius. In the late 1480s, Milan was struck by a devastating bubonic plague. Wealthy citizens fled, while the poor died in the cramped, filthy, chaotic medieval streets. Leonardo watched this horror unfold and immediately opened his notebook. But he didn't just write about medicine. On the very same pages where he analyzed the symptoms of the disease, he began sketching the urban architecture of what he called the ideal city. He designed a city built on 2 levels, an upper level for pedestrian luxury and clean air, and a lower level connected to canals for waste disposal and industrial movement. Because his notebooks allowed his thoughts to bleed into one another, his architectural plan for a city was modeled after the circulatory system of the human body. The canals were the veins. The citizens were the lifeblood. Separating his thoughts into different planners would have broken the connection. The city was a body. The body was a city. Years later, while trying to paint the Last Supper, Leonardo faced severe creative block. He spent days staring at the plaster wall, unable to capture the face of Judas, the ultimate betrayer. What did he do? He didn't lock himself in his studio. He took his notebook into the roughest, most crime-ridden quarters of Milan. He sat in taverns, staring into the eyes of thieves, murderers, and outcasts, capturing the architecture of human malice in quick, messy charcoal strokes. When he returned to the church wall, he didn't invent a face. He excavated one from his archive. The masterpiece was simply the assembly of his daily observations. So, how does a modern person, living in an era of digital distraction, apply the Da Vinci blueprint? You construct your own chaos vault. First, the law of the single stream. Stop dividing your life into 5 different notebooks or 10 different note-taking apps. Have one single repository. If you prefer analog, buy a durable, leather notebook that fits in your pocket. If you prefer digital, open one massive, continuous document. Second, capture chronologically, not topically. When an idea strikes, whether it is a strategy for your business, a creative line of poetry, a task you must do tomorrow, or a quote from a podcast, write it down immediately, one after the other. Do not worry about what folder it belongs in. Let your daily life exist as one unbroken, chronological timeline. Third, the weekly excavation. Leonardo didn't just write in his notebooks. He lived in them. Every Sunday evening, you must look back through your vault. Read the chaos of your week. This is where the magic happens. Your subconscious will begin to spot patterns you missed in the moment. You will realize that a problem you are facing in your personal life can be solved by a framework you wrote down for your work. You are forcing your brain to cross-pollinate. But inside the archive, we must also look at the cracks in the foundation. Leonardo's obsession with capturing everything became his ultimate curse. Because every idea led to 5 new ideas, he became psychologically paralyzed by his own depth. He struggled desperately to finish what he started. He left dozens of paintings incomplete, statues uncast, and treatises unpublished. He died mourning that he had offended God and mankind by failing to practice his art as he should have. The danger of the archive is turning collection into an excuse for inaction. Your vault is not a museum to look at. It is a quarry to harvest from. Do not just record a great life. Build one. Empty your mind. Construct your vault. Start today. Welcome to the archive.